the psyche. And so, like all the psychoanalysts, Jung regarded the psyche as a relatively loose collection of partially integrated personalities. And each of those personalities had their own perspective, their own thoughts, like their own way of looking at the world. That would be the perspective. Their own thoughts, their own emotions, their own habits, their own actions, and those were roughly aggregated into some sort of unity, and that was the ego. Now, the ego has a public face, and the public face Jung called the persona. Persona means mask, and the persona is both that part of you that you show to other people instead of the part that you hide, and then also to some degree it might be the form that your ego takes even to you. So for example, if you're a naive person, you might think that your public face is all there is of you. The rough difference between the ego and the persona might be conceptualized this way, that you know, there are things that you think that you won't say in public, maybe not even in private. Some of those things you're pretty aware of, and those would be thoughts that are relevant to the ego but not the persona. And then some of them you don't even really want to be aware of, and Jung would consider those more associated with the shadow. Now, the shadow, the existence of the shadow, first of all, you might want to remember that the best way to conceptualize Jung's archetypal constructions is in some sense as metaphors. So you could say that, well, Jung thought that it was useful to separate up the psyche into persona and ego and then shadow. It isn't that there aren't other ways that it could be broken up, but breaking it up this way is useful for certain purposes, and Jung regarded this terminology as particularly useful from a psychoanalytic perspective and also from a historical perspective. So perhaps the divisions could be made otherwise, and there are many ways of looking at archetypes, but this is sufficiently useful to progress with.